Field Trips features real field stories told by real ASCE members.
Hello everyone! We are the Geo-Quake Lab Group from NC State.
Today we are so happy to be here to share about our recent field testing campaign on this episode of
Field Trips!
Hello, my name is Cassie Gann-Phillips and I'm a PhD candidate at NC State University in the Geo-Quake group. This past summer I had the opportunity to lead my group's field testing, which was something that I had never done before. And this was our group's first field testing campaign, so it was a really great learning experience, but also a challenge. So over a 2-week period this past August, we completed both active and passive shear wave velocity testing and horizontal to vertical spectral ratio testing at 12 different sites in the Piedmont and coastal plain of North Carolina. We wanted to do this to be able to add more geophysical data in this area where there's not a lot of published data. And having a better understanding of the stiffness of the soil in this area can help geotechnical earthquake engineers develop more accurate estimates of seismic site amplification in this area. So this testing was funded through the NERI Rapid Scholars Program, so a huge thank you to them, as well as with the help from U.S. Geological Survey collaborators. And like I said, this was my first time planning and doing geophysical testing in the field. So initially these tasks felt very daunting, but one of the main takeaways I wanted to share is that having the support of RAPID, USGS, and my research group was super helpful for me as someone doing this for the first time. So if you are thinking about branching out and in your research and going into and doing some field testing, I really recommend utilizing the connections that you have with your collaborators and your coworkers who can share their experiences and wisdom with you. The best way to learn how to conduct field testing is just to start somewhere and try. So there is one constant though that we learn with field testing work, and it's that no matter how much you plan in advance, there's always going to be some surprises. So not only is getting access to each site and navigating to each site a fun challenge in itself, but also during this time we had to work around a tropical storm, the August heat, and many different species of ants and other insects. But one day I wanted to talk about in particular was the day that we traveled to a site that was really close to the coast of North Carolina. And this was one of our last field testing days. So my research area of interest is actually the coastal plain, and my group and I were really excited to be able to travel through the coastal plain during this field testing. And some of my group members had never been to the coast of North Carolina before, so it was a really great opportunity for them to see and experience this while we were waiting for some of the tests to finish running. So we were hoping it'd be more of a relaxing day. Like I said, it was our second to last testing day, so we had gotten to a pretty good routine by this point with conducting the tests and setting them up and tearing them down. So we were hoping that it would be more relaxing because we knew what we were doing and we only had one site scheduled for this day. And so we had finished up all of our other tests except for the horizontal to vertical spectral ratio test. And we had left this running for longer because this test needs to record as much as possible so that you can get better results. And we had set up this test in an area that was out of the way, in a public area which was off the side of this smaller path that we had found where we hadn't seen anyone walking or driving while we had been there. And when we set up the HVSR test, we have the seismometer itself, the equipment case with the connection cables, and we also put a 5-gallon bucket over the top of the seismometer to block it from the wind. So this is the bucket we used. We put a brick on top to weigh it down, and then we also put safety cones around this testing setup to provide it a sort of visual and physical buffer. So we didn't want to disturb the testing recording ourselves, so we moved away from the sensor to let it run. So we were out there enjoying the sunshine and the salty air, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a car comes rolling down this path, and it must have slightly nicked the bucket that covered the seismometer. So this knocked the bucket over and caused our seismometer to lose its level. So that was unfortunate, but thankfully none of the equipment itself was damaged. And you know, it just goes to say that we had thought we had done the right planning and picked a good location for the testing, but you just never know what might disturb your testing, and you have to be prepared to expect the unexpected. The incident with the car did cause us to have to disregard that segment of our recording, but other than that, we're able to use the other time periods that we recorded to perform the HVSR analysis and estimate the resonant site frequency. So if you're new to field testing, remember that things are going to go wrong no matter how much you plan, and having that good support system during this time is really important and helps your testing to be more successful, because it is a lot to navigate.
Thanks for listening.
Field Trips is a production of ASCE and the Geo-Institute.